There's a stiffness in recent animation, and whether that be due to budgetary constraints or character designs limiting articulation, modern animation tends to either lean towards edgy, static, limited animation, or bland, overly immature children's entertainment. The drawings feel lifeless, and there's a loss of what made the medium so special, which is why Genndy Tartakovsky is such a unique figure within Western animation as it stands now. And even if you're not familiar with the name, chances are you've seen one of his numerous cartoons or films. There's an unmistakable fluidity to the movement of his characters, and a focus on clarity of expression, even if that means smudging reality, because he draws more inspiration from Tex Avery and Hanna-Barbera, something he learned from his time in CalArts. Though there's still a noticeable difference between the Tartakovsky mid-show and the Looney Tunes. His character designs, for one, are much more simplistic and angular when compared to characters like Bugs Bunny. He doesn't just draw from a single inspiration, being influenced by anime, 70s cinema, and a whole host of other things which all combine to create something uniquely Tartakovsky. But what is it about Tartakovsky which makes him stand out from his contemporaries like Craig McCracken and Brad Bird? Well, let's trace it back to 1995. Tartakovsky was just given a chance to be a part of What a Cartoon, a series of shorts that were aired on Cartoon Network to find promising new programs and undiscovered talent. Dexter's Laboratory's original run officially began a year later, in 1996. Even in the earliest parts of his career, his distinct traits as an artist peer through. Dexter himself is made up of all these simplistic geometric shapes and sharp angles. This quality is carried through into his style of 3D animation. New technology had to be created in order to recapture that clarity of posing that's essential to his style. And in order to recapture some of that personal nature of hand-drawn animation, Tartakovsky encouraged the animators to convey themselves in the CG.
And one guy drew Drax's kind of small, another guy drew him big, another guy drew really funny hands. And that really started to come out, and all of a sudden you saw these superstars of animation rise because suddenly they were expressing themselves in the animation.
But beyond those surface-level stylistic traits, what is it about him that makes him truly distinct? Well, that wouldn't be as apparent until after Dexter's Lab, when Genndy and his team moved on to Samurai Jack and Clone Wars. Tartakovsky was continuously frustrated with the flat compositions in Dexter's Lab, which was ironically the first in a very long line of cartoons with practically identical art direction. So both Jack and Clone Wars have an immense focus on style and action. And by action I don't just mean the action scenes and the fights, but the very movements of the characters. You'll notice that no one Jedi moves the same way. Shaak Ti moves with swiftness and grace, reflecting her gazelle-like design, while Windu moves with a much more hard-hitting precision and commanding sternness. What pulls it all together most is the very specific timing and rhythm of the movements that make the actions, big or small, fit into the overall story, which is why the most memorable scenes of these shows are when it strips back the dialogue and focuses on telling the story through action. In that vein, I think Tartakovsky's most recent series, Primal, acts as a sort of culmination of his work as an artist. An entire show dedicated to pure visual storytelling, completely obsessed with timing and rhythm. Across its so far 10-episode first season, it's been a masterfully violent thought experiment in storytelling through action and movement, completely different from any of his contemporaries, and even within his own filmography. It's impossible not to get caught up in the childish excitement of seeing a caveman riding a dinosaur fighting up a bloodbath, but that violence is baked into the show's identity. The series' 7th episode, The Plague of Madness, has some of the most brutal and horrifying imagery in the show, and also fundamentally wouldn't work without it. The death of the mad sauropod is treated more as a tragedy than a victory, because through those 22 minutes you got to experience that pain the sauropod was feeling. And that feeling doesn't need words to be understood. That sympathy comes from the score, the actions, and most importantly, the atmosphere of the scene. Something you can find a lot in cinema, but you'd be hard-pressed to find in animation.
And that's the biggest thing from animation that we forget to do sometimes, is just get a mood. And sometimes a mood is enough, if you're successful. And so that's what we try to do, is just set up this vibe and take your time. You watch the speed of everything now is so fast and it's so in your face, that this is complete opposite of that.
Yet the true key behind the show's success is still found in that timing and rhythm of the action and movement. And that's something that can't be translated exactly into other mediums. Genndy graduated a part of the CalArts class of the 1970s, the famous group of students that roared in the great renaissance of animation. Though unlike some of his other peers that have faded from relevancy or moved on to other mediums, Gendy's still been challenging and innovating within the animation industry since the day he started his career 25 years ago all the way up to now, and has shown no signs of slowing down, and it all stems from his love for animation.
But to be clear, I do love animation, and I'm not like, hunting for that live action project. Animation isn't a stepping stone for me. It is what I love.
Yes, that's it. I'd like a large... What? Huh? Extra thick. 30 minutes, oh, it's free. Excellent! Ha!